Hey everyone, my name is Dr Zac Seidler. I'm a clinical psychologist and the Director of Mental Health Training at Movember, which is the global men's health charity. I've been working here for a little over a year and in the men's health and mental health space for quite a while now, so it's really a deep passion of mine and something that I'm really excited to share with you today as we try to navigate what is a pretty strange time, a difficult time, where we need to lean on each other more than ever. So there's no roadmap. There's no one way of going about this. So I want to set that out from the outset that whatever you're going through right now is unique and has its own challenges, and so is worthy of talking about and of connecting with others to try to find some solutions as well. So today is May 5, which is Giving Tuesday, and it's their response to COVID-19, so hashtag Giving Tuesday now. It's a global generosity movement, sharing ways to give back in this time when we kind of really need to lean on each other more than ever. And so we're partnering with Contiki to offer advice on supporting our friends and loved ones. And so hopefully I'll answer some of your questions because we're going to be having a Q&A at the end. But until then, why don't we chat about what's been going on right now, what we're feeling, I guess. Social isolation is not something that many people go through, and it's not something that we would wish upon anybody. It's really painful, and it's often a precursor or a risk factor for lots of mental health issues. So it's definitely something that we need to be keeping an eye on, and the phrase that we've been using instead is physical distancing, not social distancing, because keeping 1.5 meters away from someone is very different from not talking to anybody. And now is really a time to be calling up all of those friends that you haven't spoken to in a really long time. It is a perfect excuse to connect with those that you haven't in a long time, because being isolated and being separated from society can really do pretty rough things to us. It promotes loneliness, it promotes feelings of depression and social anxiety, and it's something that we can actively actually counteract, which is really cool. It's something that we can beat together rather than alone. And so I know how many people are struggling, whether it's parents dealing with their kids at home, or it's somebody who's living on their own. But there are kind of tips and tricks for each of you to try to stay above board in this time. I know that I've been thinking about a trip that I went on for Contiki ages ago, which was pretty cool. I met some awesome people from Norway and Sweden who I'm actually still in touch with, and I've been reflecting on all of my travels while I've been stuck in the house. And while it's painful in many ways, it gets me pretty pumped up for next year and when we'll get the time to see the world again. So my personal experience of isolation has been a bit strange. I've been at my family home for the first time in about a decade, back with my siblings, adult siblings, which is a bit strange. But we've made it into a competitive environment one way or another. We've tried to build in exercise challenges, whether it be push-up or sit-up challenges. I've been having cold shower challenges with one of my brothers, which if you can stomach it is pretty good for your mental health. I recommend it. It's a good reboot of the system when I can't get to the beach. I've also haven't seen any of my friends really face-to-face in quite a while, but I've been having specific times for Zoom chats with them, and we've been playing PS4 together, and I've been trying to do some workouts as well via some of the apps with them. So trying my best to connect. But I've been doing Movember's 5-a-day challenge, which I call out all of you to give a go, which is putting aside 5 minutes a day. I've been doing it at 5 to 5:05 every day when I hope that some of my friends have done work. And I call up a random person every day and just check in. And the best thing about it is the reciprocity, which is to say that it's reciprocal. I don't feel like I'm burdening them, they don't feel like they're burdening me, because we're both going through things and we can always have something to share in that way. And it really gets, gets to me in that way. It really makes me feel pretty great to be able to share with them and have that connection and know that they can lean on me and I can lean on them. So there's no better time to make the call. It's difficult. It might be uncomfortable for you. It might be awkward. There might be people that you don't necessarily talk to on the phone. We know that guys often don't look at each other face to face. They do things shoulder to shoulder. You know, we don't call each other on the phone all the time for hours on end. But we can do it in our own way. We can have these calls in meaningful ways. We can do them in, while instrumentally, playing a game, whatever it may be. But there's really no excuse for not connecting with your friends and loved ones in this time, because they're going to really need it. Be curious. Be the person that is relentless in continuing to call people, because lots of people are falling off social media or not necessarily answering the phone, and they're the people that we really need to make sure are not slipping through the cracks. I really hope that all of you are doing well, and I'm going to be on Q&A tomorrow on Contiki's channels for anyone that has any questions, really, whatever they may be, mental health related, social isolation related, travel related. Love to take some of those, and I just hope that you're all looking after one another and yourselves in this time. So from Movember to the Contiki world, thank you, and I'll chat to you soon.
So I'm going to kick off and talk to you guys, I guess, through this Hangout series for Giving Tuesdays, and thank you to Contiki for having us, and for ongoing support of Movember has been pretty sweet. So thank you for that. I've got a couple questions here that I'm going to shoot for, and then I'm going to jump into anything that people are throwing at me here as well. I am, again, a clinical psychologist, so I do a bit of one-on-one and group therapy, and I also help out Movember with their men's mental health work. So the first question I wanted to shoot for is, how can I help family members or friends feel less alone if they're isolating solo? So I know so many people who are going through that right now. I've tried to connect with those people who are, separate, and I know that heaps of people in my office are living alone, and some people who are introverts are really loving that, but the vast majority are finding it pretty difficult, and that physical distancing is quite hard for heaps of them. So dropping off little gifts if you can get out to see them, mailing things, handwritten letters. I got some letters in the mail yesterday, which was just insane to me, and was really exciting to get, and it showed me that someone was thinking of me. So I think that that's probably going to be something that's really useful, creating things, arts and crafts, sending it over, and making sure really that they know that they're not alone, I think is something that's really important. So while they may not necessarily respond even to a message, just shooting through something for them to see later on that lets them know that you're thinking of them, I think is going to be something that's really important. Indeed, as Stephanie says, back to the pen pal days, that's what we're all about. I reckon that's something that we should be thinking about, because it's really personalized, and it lets them know that you're thinking of them. So that's my first tip. My second question: my friend has gone quiet on messages and social media, and I'm worried. What can I do to help? This is a really telltale sign that things are going a bit awry, and I think that we need to remember that mental health is really precarious. We all sit on a spectrum. Things move every day. Even during the day, we can shift from really anxious, really down, to feeling on top of the world. So I think we need to pay attention to those people who might be slipping through the cracks right now, who might be not reaching out when they need it. And I reckon there's no better time than now to check in on them. All that awkwardness of having to talk about their job or sitting at a pub with them and not knowing what to say, you can just give them a call on the phone now, and there's always all that shared experience that we can connect on. So I think even just asking what's been going on, and really asking what's going on, really listening, not jumping in with solutions necessarily, just listening to what they have to say, encouraging action, that is, whatever it may be. If they need to seek help, telling them to do so. If they should go out and, go for a run, go for a walk, letting them do that. and how they're going to change the situation. Then really arranging a check-in, I think, is the most important thing here. Being specific. So arranging a check-in doesn't mean, yeah, we'll chat soon. It means on Wednesday at 5, I'm going to give you a call. And that's really, really important. We need to schedule this stuff or it just slips by and then we don't actually have that connecting time, and we can just work and deal with our families and whatever forever and ever, and then we lose that really strong social bubble that you want to keep going right now. All right, third question. I feel this one. I miss my workout buddy. How can we stay motivated to keep active without seeing each other? So this one has been hitting me especially. I'm a runner and I love running with my mates, and I also go to gym with a couple of them. And so what I've been doing is setting challenges with my friends. And so we've been doing push-up challenges or running challenges on our own separately, but competing through that and checking in with each other every day about how that's been going, which has been pretty cool. So I think that that's really something to move forward with, and motivating each other. Feeling like you're not alone is really the most important thing, I think. So whether it's exercise, whether it's work that you're not connecting with your colleagues, pushing through that awkwardness or discomfort or fear to connect with those people, because it's going to be better off for you and for them in the long run, I reckon, for sure. Again, guys, feel free to shoot some stuff through here. I'm more than happy to, video chats while exercising that is true. It depends what the exercise is. I cannot run on video chat, but I'll give it a go. Why not? So next question, how can I support my parents who aren't allowed to go out right now? That's really, really tough. My grandparents are in an aged care facility and I can't see them, so that's really difficult. I've been sending care packages, little surprises, trying to set them up on Zoom or on some kind of tech, but that's not working too well. Just telling them that you love them and letting them know that you're there and that you're thinking of them again is the most important thing. Connecting regularly, not just on an off chance, I think is really an important thing. So I reckon that's going to be something really, really useful for parents and grandparents. To feel needed, to feel heard is going to be sweet. We've got someone on from Nepal, which is awesome. I was just there at the start of the year. Got some crazy altitude sickness climbing a mountain, but otherwise, beautiful place, beautiful people. So we've then got, I'm struggling to come to terms with the fact that there's no end date to this. How can I feel more hopeful? So I don't know how many of you right now are feeling this. I know that different places in the world are feeling it really in different ways. I know that the US and UK are experiencing more of a severe lockdown, I guess, than Australia. We're lucky we're a pretty closed off island in that way. And uncertainty is really tough. And as XJ Coleman has just said, desperate to do a Contiki trip, never done one before. So that's that uncertainty around when am I going to get to travel? When am I going to get to go on my first Contiki tour? I think is something that lots of people are battling with at the moment. I know young people who love traveling, and Australians do especially, are really trying to work out their future plans and what things are going to look like. And it's not something you can overcome overnight, but sitting with that uncertainty and realizing that what do you have control over and what don't you have control over is something that we should all be paying attention to. Breaking those up into a list potentially and working on the things you have control over and leaving the things you don't. And as someone has said here, make a bucket list, plan your dreams now. That's true. We've got time. Plan that stuff, put it in place so that when the time comes, when the borders open and we're ready to rumble and the planes are flying, you know where you want to go and you can do it because it's been visualized, it's been thought of. So I think that's great. Next question. I can't stick to a routine and I'm feeling really unmotivated. Any tips? I know this feeling. When it rains, that really does it to me. So you need to think through quick tricks for motivation. And as a psychologist, I can tell you that the fastest tricks to motivation are exercise and diet, getting those down pat. Your sleep cycle is awesome as a way of boosting your mental health and motivation. So you wake up in the morning feeling fresh. But really, little challenges, I think, are a way of doing it. And congratulating yourself if you get through one of them. So for instance, I set myself a challenge. I needed to write a paragraph for an article. I said that I wanted to do it within an hour. I completed that and I gave myself a reward. I got an ice cream. It was awesome. And so I think that while it might seem childish once in a while, setting those little tricks for yourself and making sure that you're kind to yourself, I think is the most important thing. Because if you make a plan for the day and you don't live up to it, so many people just start ripping on themselves, start really putting themselves down, and then they give up. And that's a really difficult thing to do, and it also doesn't necessarily help you in the long run. Whereas going, all right, I've planned this thing, I didn't pull it off, you tried, how are we going to go about improving that next time, rather than feeling down in the dumps and just giving up. Because there's always a silver lining, and I think that that's what we're learning in this whole COVID-19 situation. There's been a lot of death, a lot of destruction, I guess, in many ways, but there are so many beautiful things coming out, so many opportunities, I guess, for lots of people to refresh and reboot and start to see a way of changing things up for them or their work or their families. So take those opportunities. The next question. My friends and I want to go traveling again, but we're scared that so much is going to change. Should we keep dreaming and making plans? As a psychologist, the best thing for your mental health is dreaming and making plans. It's working out how you're going to go about that. So I'd go crazy if I couldn't travel. And I know that sooner rather than later, we're all going to be able to share experiences. I'm going to be able to come and hopefully see some of your beautiful countries and you mine. So let's not pretend that this is an easy situation, but really thinking through what you want your travels to look like, where you want to go, and financing potentially as well, where you can to get ready for next year, because I think things are going to go pretty quickly. All those seats are going to be selling. All right, the next question is a pretty clinical one. Any strategies I have to cope with OCD during COVID? This is a really common situation that lots of people are going through. It's been flaring up their anxiety. There's a lot of health anxiety going around because lots of people are afraid of getting sick, which I totally understand. I think, firstly, turning down the news consumerism is really important. There's a lot of information going around, and it's kind of overwhelming at times, especially in the morning or before bed. It really can stuff with your day or sleep. So thinking through that is really important. It depends what type of OCD, I guess, this person is talking about. I've seen a lot of health-related OCD, like hand washing, for instance. Obviously, we've been told to wash our hands, but lots of people are taking that to another level, and it's becoming obsessive. And so my first thought is to speak with a professional. For anyone out there, I can see that there is a few people who are struggling here and who've described that. Thank you for sharing, and please feel free and push through that fear, I guess, again, of going and talking to your local doctor or a psychologist or psychiatrist, if need be, to check in. It's like personal training for the brain. It's a great thing to do. I don't see it by any means as a weakness. It's actually the bravest, most courageous, strong thing you can do. So I definitely think, even if you're not feeling down in the dumps, having a chat with a professional is always a good way to go. But for someone with OCD, it's a psychologist's bread and butter. Life can be easier than what you might be going through right now. So I assure you that that kind of stuff can be improved. But I think starting to challenge yourself, that's what I would say as your psych. I would reckon that you should start to begin to reduce, whether it's the hand washing or whatever that may be, and sit with that discomfort, because it's really difficult, but it's definitely something that is potentially going to be really beneficial for your quality of life. So working on that is going to be great. Next question. I'm having really vivid dreams. Wow. And I'm not sleeping well. What's your advice? So I don't know how many of you have heard of sleep hygiene. That is Mental Health 101, is get your sleep hygiene down. That is, beds are for S's. Sleeping, sex, if that is happening at the moment. It is not for work. It is not the place to sit there and chat to your friends on your laptop or your phone necessarily. I think if you've got another space in your house or a desk of some kind, always using that is going to be beneficial to separate your sleep. Having a bath before or a hot shower before bed tends to be pretty good. Screen time, stopping that an hour before bed. Not flicking through Instagram during the night. Keeping your phone out of your room and on silent, I think, is a really good way of going about it. Obviously, this person who's having really vivid dreams is probably watching some hardcore Tiger King or Unorthodox or something on Netflix. So if the vivid dreams are worrying them, potentially working out what they're watching that might be triggering those, and also doing some meditation before bed, which will calm and ease their mind and hopefully reduce some of those symptoms. All right, final question here is, what are your tips for finding the right balance between looking after yourself and others? Finding the right balance between looking after yourself and others. This is an awesome question, so thank you for asking it. It's a really difficult one to consider. I'm guilty of this, but pay attention to when you're slipping up and know when enough is enough, I guess, when it comes to looking after others. When you are sabotaging yourself or martyring yourself and putting yourself last, that's not what it's about. You can't help people if you're not looking after yourself. If you're feeling down in the dumps, if you're feeling exhausted, you're not going to be giving the best to your friends or family. So working on that, I think, by setting up your own self-care rituals and working on those day to day, because you need to be good to be able to help others. So everyone out there, look after yourselves, and hopefully we're all going to be on a Contiki tour sooner rather than later. So we've got a few thoughts rolling in about developing new projects for the environment, street and neighbours. That's awesome. That whole idea around altruism right now is beautiful, about sharing with others and looking after, like, communities are coming back. Neighbourhoods, I think, is on the rise, when it used to be quite separate, I think, because we're all going through this camaraderie in a way about how to tackle this global issue. Can I have a virtual background so that we can pretend we're all on holidays? I don't think that I can do that, sadly, because I don't want to stuff this up, because Contiki's been kind enough to let me jump in. But if you just close your eyes and pretend you're in the Bahamas, I'm sure that will do the trick. And to the person with vivid dreams, they could do that as well. Everybody, it's been a pleasure to share a couple of thoughts with you. I hope that you're all looking after yourselves. Movember is thinking of you, and we really thank Contiki for this opportunity. And I really hope that we all get to go on a big old holiday pretty soon. But until then, look after yourselves, look after everyone else in your lives, and stay well. I am Dr. Zac Seidler, and that's all I've got for you right now. So have an awesome night or morning, depending on where you're at. And I will hopefully see you all pretty soon. All the best. Bye.